Oh, man. Y'all already know what time it is. It's time for another edition of That's a Bet podcast. It's your boy, Lockett. Two T's coming to you live from the Tab Studios. And am I forgetting somebody? You know what? I can't forget the greatest co-host in all of podcast land. You know, he's just the guy with the plan. He's super wise. And when you see him raising them eyes on the pod, you know how it's going down. But it's my guy, man, Willie J. Will Jetson. What's good with you, man?
Feeling good, man. I'm back in Houston. Feels good to be home. I'm at the Group 13 studios and ready to make some money this weekend, man. So, feels good.
Man, that's a good feeling, man, because I can tell y'all right now, I thought you weren't going to get here to this pod. I thought you weren't going to get to the last pod. My boy was underwater in Houston for a minute, man. You got caught in the floods,
man.
Huh?
Straight up. I was stuck at a gas station for like 6 hours.
What?
And I can tell you right now, I'm out here in the Lone Star State. That was the one time where I felt like, man, what am I doing without a gun in my car? them folks were going crazy out there. So I was able to get up out of there unharmed. So that's a good thing about it. I actually rode my truck through some water that came up almost to the engine, so I got a little scared. Felt like I was driving a boat, but I got up out of there.
Whoo, man, I know that was scary, man. I've never experienced nothing, no floods or nothing like that, but man, that's good. I'm glad you're here, man, because all I gotta say is, without you, man, this podcast would be nothing. With your insight, with that knowledge you be dropping, man. I mean, y'all agree with me out there. I mean, Willie J is a beast with it, man. I mean,
we a team with this thing, man.
Look, we a team, but you know what? Look, there's always Tom Brady. You Tom Brady, I'm Edelman. You know, you just throw me the rock. You know what I mean? I'll get open for you. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody listening and checking out the podcast. Will, what about last week, man? It was like we were on the money, right? It was everything we
killing
spit out.
The NFL, man.
Yeah, Absolutely. NFL was just money time.
I remember you called out that Mike Evans deal, and I hope y'all listen to my guy, man, because if you played him in daily fantasy or if you started him in fantasy football, you probably won this past week.
Yep, that's correct, man. Mike Evans and Keenan Allen. If you had those two in your lineup, you won. It didn't matter what you played. You won some money regardless. So, and I got a little nugget for you guys a little bit later on in this show too. I got my number one receiver again for you guys this week. I'll drop that a little bit later. But without further ado, Will, I want to jump into this week's of NFL football. It's kind of like I call this is the nut cutting week in NFL. You know, this is week 4. You got a lot of teams, a couple teams 0-3. We got the Steelers. What's going on with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers? They're 0-3. You have teams
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer guy.
Mason Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. They gave away their first-round draft pick. They must have thought, Rudolph is going to shine his old red nose out there in Pittsburgh, but looks like that thing is still black right now. But 0-3 teams. We got some teams currently, even right now, we're recording this on Thursday night. Some 1-2 teams, the Eagles, they're facing the Packers. To me, this week right here, because they say there's only like a 33% chance of you making the playoffs if you fall to 0-3, and then it's like 16% for teams fall to 0-4. So I think this week is going to be very, very tricky, in my opinion, Will. And I say that because week 4 is kind of the week where you see some teams, they'll blow up everything they try to do in the offseason. You have these coaching staffs where all offseason, what they doing? They're game planning these brand new fancy plays. Defensive guys are scheming up stuff out their ass. They're drawing up stuff in the sand. They come out those first 3 weeks and if they run into a brick wall, they're trying to readjust. And week 4 is a little bit tricky, and I can kind of see that with some of these lines. So, I want you guys to really pay attention to some of the stuff we're talking about and saying. And, I think it'll be a fun week. But with that being said, Will, before we jump into the pod, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping here. I want to make sure that everybody knows where to follow us at on social media. Guys, on Instagram, at That's a Bet Podcast is our podcast social media handle. Make sure you guys follow us there. We'll be posting pics, all of Willie J's picks, all of my picks. We'll post that onto our Instagram story, and we'll have, some free picks for you guys here or there. But you can follow me at Lockett2Ts on Instagram and Twitter. And Will, where can they find you at, man?
Group 13 Sports, Instagram, Twitter. That's it. It ain't Facebook. So Instagram and Twitter. Group 13 Sports.
We ain't doing that Facebook, man.
Look, my daddy and them on Facebook now. I'm out on that one.
That's what I said. Hey, my mom said that the other day. She said, "You guys on Facebook? Is Will on there?" I said, "I don't know if Will's on there, Mom." I said, "Maybe it's his dad may be on there, but I don't think Willie J on there."
Be talking on there every day. He on it.
Posting comments and everything, man. So it's so funny, man.
My grandma on there.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Judson, man. But yeah, that's funny. Our parents be on there like it's the club or something. But yeah, make sure you guys follow us there, and also too, again, I want to thank everybody. Our YouTube is like blowing up, man. I think people are really loving the videos and getting a taste of our personality. If you guys haven't watched us on YouTube yet, I think listen to the podcast is cool. We definitely appreciate it. Subscribe, drop a comment. But watching this on YouTube is a little bit different too. You get get a feel of what we're kind of saying and doing. I mean, it's just, a different vibe, and we appreciate everybody listening, man. We got some people over in Asia checking this out. We got a couple people in Africa I saw checking this out, and we're up to about right over 300 subscribers, man. So we're continuing to grow. We appreciate the love. You guys just keep liking those videos and checking them out. And this pod will be up as soon as it's done as well. This is Thursday evening, so it should be up. But Will, before we jump into it, you got anything, you want to get off your chest, man? Anything on your mind from last week?
No, I mean, the only thing I would say that I went 2-1 last week. The thing that kept me from going 3-0 was Kenyon Drake fumbling on the 5-yard line. So that kind of blew that. But overall, I feel really good about what we're doing with the NFL.
Yep.
Much better than we're hitting on the college. But like we said, NFL is that's our honey hole. And
Yep.
we the Bears. We're going to get that honey. So we love the NFL, and I'm ready to get it rolling.
Bernstein Bears 2.0 right here, man. Willie J and 2 T's. So without further ado, let's just roll right into this new honey hole for this week, Will, and get into this week 4 slate of NFL football. So we're not gonna talk about the Thursday night game. Obviously, they're playing while we're recording. But Will, if you had was there anything that you took tonight with this Thursday night game?
Yeah, I took the over 47.
Okay.
I think if you paid attention to the media and everything that people were saying, when you look at the stats, they talked about how bad Green Bay was on offense, but you got to think about it. They played the Bears,
Yep.
the Vikings, and the Broncos, who are all pretty stout defenses. So I think those numbers were skewed a bit.
Yeah.
And then they were playing the Eagles, who play at a high tempo, and they like to throw it all over the field. So I took the over. I thought that would be an easy bet. And then I also parlayed Green Bay, as a money line, because I didn't want to lay any points with them. So I parlayed Green Bay. I don't know if they'll win the game, but we'll see.
Yep, got you there. I was the same way, man. Funny story. I actually texted Will earlier today about the under. Like I was doing some research, trying to handicap this game, the Thursday night game, and I was like, man, there's some in the past, since 2015, I think it was 2008. This year, there has been the lowest over/under totals like in Thursday night in primetime games. Actually, excuse me. So this teams in primetime games this year have only been averaging like 35.7 points. So I was sending him all these stats and all this stuff. I'm a big stat guy. And, we'll have the time. He shoot it down, and he shot it down quick. He was like, man, don't believe all that media hype. He texted me back and he was like, man, this game is going to go way over. Like the Eagles throw it all around the yard. The Packers in their offense, they're going to try to feed Adams and all this kind of stuff. And the funny thing is, it's playing out just like that now. It's already 21-20 at halftime. 6 more points to, give you a push, and 7 points to take it over. So this game right here should be over, well over, for real.
Yeah, but I mean, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we do. We text all day about picks, and we go back and forth. So when you guys, get on there and subscribe and, pay for the picks through Tab, Group 13, you see what's going on. And what you're usually looking at is 2 guys that have discussed the picks, looked at, came to an agreement. So that's what happened.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what happened. So and Will actually said that because I just got to get this off my chest, Will. Some of my boys out there, look, I'm not going to call y'all out right now. But if y'all ask me for a pick and I send you a pick, because I'm being nice, and then as soon as I send you the pick, you try to pick that pick apart. Like, I haven't been looking at that pick all week. Well, it be tripping me out. I'm like, dude, you asked me for who I think, and then as soon as I tell you, you're like, man, no, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. I'm like, okay. I mean, you asked me for my opinion. I'm giving it to you. I don't want to say, well, have you looked at it over 12 hours this week? I'm not going to toot my own horn or nothing like that. But I'm just saying, like, you came to the quote-unquote experts, right? And then when they tell you what they think, you shoot it down. So, I mean,
Skip Bayless
I'm not going to
Jr.,
say the saying. Yeah, I'm not going to say what, my daddy told me to tell you. But, we just going to keep it moving right now, Will. But I just had to get it off my chest before we got rolling. But, without further ado, let's get into these Sunday games. What I really want to do this week, Will, is really, if we're going to pass a game, I still want to make everybody, really know like which way we're leaning. Okay. And we'll make sure we make that a little bit more obvious this time. I know last week it, kind of got a little confusing here or there, but we'll make sure if we're leaning a side where we're not going to bet on it, we'll know which side we're leaning. You guys will know what side we're leaning, and we'll do it that way. So without further ado, Will, let's hop into the first game of the week. And for me, I think this one, I wanted to do this one first just because I think it's going to be the most talked about game. And I didn't want to, have it fall off in the middle of the podcast or something like that and kind of get buried away. But we're going to lead with New England heading to Buffalo. This game is the battle of 3-0 teams. Buffalo Bills, 3-0. First time 3-0, I think, in almost 11 years. Led by Josh Allen. He's going against the GOAT, Tom Brady and Belichick and those guys. Now, Belichick and Brady have dominated this matchup over the years. In the 34 times that they've played, actually 36 times that Brady and Belichick have played the Bills, they're 33 out of 36 they've won, with his home on the road. That's pure domination. The average score in this one between the two has been, the Patriots have won by average of 13 points or more in over half those games. And currently right now, Will, the line sits at -7.5 as the Patriots favorite on the road. And over-under is 42.5. I just want to kind of let everybody know off the top, this is my best bet of the week. I am taking the under 42.5 in this game. And Will, I'm going to tell you why. The Patriots have yet to give up a touchdown, period, on defense, rushing or passing.
Excellent defense.
In 3 whole games. And now people say, oh, well, they played the Steelers teams who's 0-3. They played the Jets who's, 0-3, not any good. And then they played the Dolphins who's 0-3. Okay, cool, but they're still NFL teams. Let's just be real. You know what I mean? It's the Dolphins scored on the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys defense got some names too, so I just want to let you guys know they have yet to give up a touchdown. One thing that really jumps out to me as well in this game is I was listening to the press conferences of the Buffalo Bills, and Josh Allen got on the mic, and, him being the gung-ho young kid that he is, reporter asked him, hey, so the Patriots are coming in. You got Brady, Belichick. You guys going to change up and do anything different? And Josh Allen gets on the mic and confident as ever. No, we're going to do what we always do. We're the Bills. We're going to play the Bills style. Now, let me let you guys know a little bit about the Bills style right now. The Bills are one of the leading rushing teams in the NFL. They run the ball over 30 times. Josh Allen runs it about 16 times a game. He's a running quarterback. In the past 7 games, he's had 6 rushing touchdowns going back to last year. And we all know that style. He's a wild cowboy back there. He's going to scramble, try to run it in. But one thing we know about Belichick, well, what do we always say Belichick does? Belichick is going to take away what?
He's gonna take it away. If you're right-handed, he's gonna take your right hand away and make you box him with your left.
Yep, exactly. And to me, Josh Allen has yet to show that he can box with his left. I don't think he can throw punches with his left yet. He's not a pocket passer. He's gonna be in there. He's gonna get out of the pocket quick, look to run, or he's gonna dink and dunk, short, flat routes. He's one of the highest pass. He has the highest passer rating on of passes under 15 yards. You're not going to beat the Patriots doing that. And you're damn sure not going to score on the Patriots dinking and dunking because Belichick just knows he's going to make him throw downfield. And those corners on the back end have been darn good. And one of the reasons why I really love the under too, you got to remember with the Patriots, y'all. The Patriots are going to be kind of struggling this week. They lost their fullback, James Devlin. And James Devlin was on the field over 70% of the snaps those first 3 games. That's unheard of for a fullback. Just think about this era in time of spread offense, all that kind of stuff. They're going to, 5 wide, 4 wide, 1 back, tight end spread out. With no fullback, they're one of their main guys on the field. They like I formation, split backfield type of plays. I think Belichick is going to have to get creative in how they're going to actually run the ball. I think they're still going to try to run on the Bills because the Bills are one of the best pass defending defenses in the NFL. They're ranked like 5th in defensive efficiency against the pass, which is very, very good. They got Tre'Davious White back there, one of the best corners in the NFL. And that right now they're saying he's going to shadow Josh Gordon. And let me just drop that nugget now, Will. He's going to shadow Josh Gordon. Everybody's off of the rib injury on Edelman. Jules will have over 10 catches and over 100 yards in this game. Just letting you guys know. Julian Edelman, go ahead and put him in your lineups fantasy-wise. He's going to be a monster this week. Okay, I said it. Julian Edelman. Remember that name. But yeah, well, I love the under in this game. The Bills defense is very formidable. The Patriots defense is the best defense in the NFL right now. Give me the under 42 and a half. That's my best bet of the week, Will. What you like for this matchup?
I like that. I like the under 42. You got a game featuring 2 top 5 defenses. I think it'll be low scoring. I think last year the game ended up being 24-12 in Buffalo. It's just, you got 2 defenses. I think it's going to be a slugfest. But I do think that Brady and New England will end up covering this game as well. Now, you listed the line at 7.5. I caught it at 7 earlier this week. That 7.5 makes me a little wishy-washy on it, but if I can get it a touchdown or under, I'm taking New England. When I look at the Buffalo Bills, I look at it's a bit of fool's gold when I look at it. I go look at the gold and I pull it out and it's actually copper. It's a damn penny. So I don't really trust Buffalo yet. I like Buffalo. I like Josh Allen. He runs around a lot. I think New England and Belichick, we talked about that earlier. They're gonna make him box with his left hand. They're gonna put a spy on him so he's not gonna be ripping and running all over the place like a chicken with his head cut off. I hate quarterbacks that do that. I like Josh Allen, but I want to see him stand in the pocket just a little bit more, man. I get tired of seeing him run around. But anyways, they're gonna make him beat New England with his arm. And even if he tries to do that, the secondary is too good. We talked about this at the beginning of the year. New England has the best secondary overall. And they got linebackers that are playing as well with Jamie Collins and Dante Hightower, who's actually questionable for this game. But just as an overall unit, this is a great defense. I think this New England Patriots team is the best Patriots team since the 2007 team that went 16-0. And I think the public is giving the Buffalo Bills a little bit too much respect. I like what they're doing, but like I said earlier, it's a little bit of fool's gold. So I'm going to take New England to cover -7. I know the line is 7.5 right now. If it's 7.5,
it'll move back down.
Move back down and be back down. But to be honest, I think New England can win this by 2 scores. So I'm going to take the Patriots -7, and I also like the under as well.
Got you. I'm with you on that. I just want to remind everybody, the Bills have played the Giants, the Jets, and the Bengals in the 3-0. Giants, Jets, Bengals.
And New England had, and I know you can make that argument for New England saying they haven't played anybody, but New England has looked very impressive in the games that they won. So it's the difference between, the Bills. They had to rally at the end to beat the Bengals. They had to rally to beat the Jets. And then who else did you name?
Giants.
The Giants.
It was just second half they pulled away late.
Yeah.
They made it pulled away late, so it wasn't like they were world beaters. The same Jets team the Patriots faced, they put them down in the bottom of the depths and knocked them around pretty good.
Right. So I like the Bills coach. I like Doug McDermott, but this is you're getting ready to step in the ring with the big boys this weekend. So I like New England to cover that, and I love the under.
Yep. So y'all heard it there. Will's best bet for that one. He likes the Patriots to cover that -7, and I'm on the under 42.5. One of our best bets of the week. So moving right along, Will, we're gonna jump into a game with the team that is really struggling right now and is gonna be away from home for almost a month. The Oakland Raiders. They're traveling to Indianapolis to face the Colts. The Colts who just knocked off the Falcons in a pretty hard-fought game, and the Raiders are coming off a nice ass-whooping in Minnesota versus the Vikings. This line currently sits at -7. The Colts are the favorite here, and the over-under on this game is at 45, currently sitting over-under 45. Will, you have any action for this, man? You passing, you betting, or you leaning? What you got?
No, I'm a bet this one.
Okay.
I know what you like, but I'm gonna go ahead and take the Colts -7 and 6.5. I caught it at 6.5. The line is up to 7. I'm taking the Colts. I don't like what I'm seeing from the Raiders. They are, if you look at their last 12 road games, look at their last 12 road games, man. They are 1-11 and have averaged 12.3 points on the road.
Wow.
Oakland's doing a horrible job stopping the run, and I just expect Indy to run it all over them with Marlon Mack and company. Jacoby Brissett hadn't really been talked about that much, but he's playing excellent this year. I think he's got like 7 touchdowns and 1 pick. His yards per pass is great. He's completing his passes at 70% right now. So he's going unnoticed. He's playing well. And if you look at the Colts defense, they play really sound defense. They shut the Falcons down for most of the game last week. And so I think that there'll be more of the same with that with Oakland. Derek Carr, he does a nice job of getting his guys the ball, but he also does a nice job of keeping the other team in the game. Very conservative, doesn't like to throw it down the field. Doesn't want to hurt his stats, so he doesn't like to take chances. And I think that's not a good look for the Raiders. And then also, they're going to London next week. Yep. People might not think about that, but that's in the back of the guys' minds. They're setting up their spouses with tickets, trying to get their family over there to visit. They're not going to be home for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if London is in the back of their head, and so this is a bad spot for them. I like the Colts -6.5 or 7.
Oh, hey. In the words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend.
Let me hear it.
Well, now I want to let you know, thanks in part to injuries to T.Y. Hilton, Darius Leonard, Malik Hooker, I think this is actually a spot that really isn't a lock for the Colts, in my opinion. I don't think this is a walk-away game like how you feel. Indianapolis is going to have to put together another game like they did against the Falcons. Mistake-free. Rush the ball down the Raiders' throat, impose their will against the Raiders' front seven. And I think it's going to be tough this week in a sense that T.Y. Hilton really takes the top off the defense. He opens up a lot of stuff for Eric Ebron. And T.Y. Hilton is Jacoby Brissett's security blanket. That's somebody that he knows, he's going to be open all the time. And T.Y. is dealing with a quad injury that I really don't think he's going to be there this weekend. And Malik Hooker as well, he's out. He hurt his knee. And with that being said, I think the Raiders are going to exploit the Colts in this fashion. Darren Waller last week had 13 catches for 134 yards against the Vikings. And that was on Harrison Smith, who was shadowing him. Darren Waller is special, a special tight end that I think everybody's going to really take notice on here in another week. Fantasy alert. But I think with the fact that they are about to go to London, Will, they are actually going to rally around the fact that, hey, if we don't win this game against the Colts, just win it outright, that they may be 1-6 by the time they come off this long 5-game road trip, where they're not touching home and all this kind of stuff. I think John Gruden, I saw a stat. I'm kind of give you guys a deep nugget here. The Raiders haven't beat the Colts in Indianapolis since 2001. Will, you want to take a guess who the coach of the Raiders was in 2001?
I got it. John Gruden.
Yep. Ding, 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 ding. Tell him what he's won. A brand new nothing at all. John Gruden, last coach of the Raiders to go to Indianapolis and actually beat the Colts. That's kind of one of those nuggets where it's like, oh, okay. that kind of sealed it for me. So I love Oakland +7 in this fashion. I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts won a game just because of how physical they are. And the Colts really don't lose at home. The Colts have won their last 11 out of 12 at home in Indianapolis, which is a pretty good home field advantage, I think, up there. I think them guys go back to that stadium and be like, hey, man, this is where we had the combine, bro. This is why I wear my 40, dog. Hey, man, this is why I got my money, bro. And they just forget that they got to play a game. But the overall talent of the Colts is better than the Raiders, but I think it's going to have something said here in this game. I think the Colts are more beat up than people, lead to. And the Raiders are just due, man. I think they're going to rally around the fact, like I said, they have to go across the sea coming next week. And if they don't win this game, they'll be 1-6. So with that being said, I think Josh Jacobs actually has a big game, Darren Waller. And I think the Raiders take advantage of it. I love the Raiders +7, and I'm on the fence right now. I may pick them as my dog of the weekend, but we'll wait and see. Make sure I may put them up there. So give me the Raiders +7 there. So me and Will are on opposite ends on this pick. He likes the Colts. You like the Colts -7, right?
I do.
Yep, and I'm on the Raiders +7 there. So, but I think this game would be like a 26-17 game. I don't know which team will have 26. I don't know who will have 17. But I think one of these teams is going to win by at least 9 points. So moving right along on this one, Will, I want to jump into let's go down, down where your pops played, man, and let's head on down to where the Super Bowl is going to be. Let's go ahead and get this Chargers and Miami game out the way. You got any action on this one, man?
I've got a best bet of the week in this one.
Ooh, best bet. Okay.
My dad and them, they actually going to the game this weekend. So I think, last time I went to the game down there, the underdogs pulled it off. So
that was an epic game, boy. Kenyon Drake.
Yeah. So this is another one of my best bets of the week. I love the Dolphins +16 against the Chargers. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a historically bad Miami Dolphins football team that we're looking at. Probably the worst team that I've seen since I've actually looked at sports from a analyzing standpoint, that kind of thing. But as we talked about earlier, with the media, they can blow things out of proportion. So You see on ESPN, FS1, Sports Talk Radio, how bad this Miami Dolphins football team. And what happens is the public fades them, bets against them, and they're really not as bad as the public makes it seem. And so you've got the opposite end of the spectrum. The Chargers are getting way too much respect. They've been getting the respect all year, and they've been losing against the spread. And now they're going all the way across the country from L.A. to Miami. That is a long flight. They're going to play at 1 o'clock p.m., which is 10 o'clock a.m. West Coast time. And I just think with all the injuries that L.A. has, I think they're gonna win the game, and they'll definitely dominate it enough to win the game, where it'll never be in question. But I also think that the Dolphins will be able to cover this game. Yes, Miami's a bad team, but I can't see a Chargers team that's been bitten completely by the injury bug. You got Mike Williams, who's questionable. He played last week, but he's questionable. Hunter Henry, he's out indefinitely. Who else we got? The safety, Derwin James, he's out for a very long time. Virgil Green, he's questionable, the backup tight end. Melvin Gordon, he reported to practice today, but they're not going to just throw him in the fire. He's going to now come in and split carries with Austin Eckler. They're going to work him in. All I think that does is just cause a little bit more confusion and hurt fantasy owners that have Austin Eckler. And then you also can't use Melvin Gordon because you don't know how much he's going to get. So I think they're going to have to adjust to that. But I think they'll win the game, but I see the Dolphins covering it. So I'm taking the Dolphins +16 at home in that heat against the Chargers, and that's another one of my best bets.
Hey, you don't know something funny, guys? Well, we're on the same train.
There we go.
Let's go on all aboard. Let's hop on this Dolphins train, man. I really, really, really like the Dolphins this week. I like what I saw last week out of them competing against Dallas. They messed up Will's one of his best bets of the week last week over the 12 points against Dallas. Kenyon Drake fumbled, right on the goal line. They had some red zone turnovers. But I like what I saw out of Josh Rosen. I mean, he's competing. He's throwing it to Devontae Parker. I mean, he's actually slinging the ball around. And the Dolphins showed me a little something on defense. They were flying around and hitting. And that cross country flight is tough. People don't talk about that too much. And they have to have an early start. They're playing at 1:00 against the Dolphins too. And not only I will tell you guys that do I like the Dolphins plus 16, but I'm take a close look at that first half bet with the Chargers. Whatever that line kind of opens up as, I'm guessing it'll probably be in the 7 range, 6 range for the first half. I'm taking a long, hard look at it just because I think the Chargers will get off to a slow start, and who knows what's going to happen, if the Dolphins hang around and get up early or something like that, which I actually think the Dolphins are going to score first in this game, which is, another little small prop bet that you can think about. But yeah, I like the Dolphins in this one. Josh Rosen, man, showed me he got a little something in his tank still. And I think at the end of the day, the Chargers will win this game pretty easily. I think this will be like a 31-17-ish game, somewhere around there where it's barely cover 15 range, or 31-20, something like that, where the Dolphins score late. But I'm on that same train with you, man. I like the Dolphins plus 16 here. And, I think they do cover that number pretty easily. Yep. So. Now, the next game I want to jump into, another game that has a lot of, I would say sideshow stuff. Jacksonville, they'll be traveling to Denver. Currently, this line is -3 Denver. A 0-3 team as the favorite. Will, that's like kind of shocking. Vegas must see something that we don't. I mean, they must not believe in the Minshew magic right now, Minshew mania, in Jacksonville. You know what I mean? But Jacksonville coming into a 1-2. That over/under is 38. That's the lowest total of the weekend. Will, do you have any action on this one?
I'm passing on this one. If I had to bet, I would take the under 38.5. Denver has the slowest pace offense in the league, and that's just something that I can't get behind with Joe Flacco, 35-year-old quarterback now. Hasn't really shown me anything, and it looks like John Elway once again has missed the boat on evaluating quarterbacks. I mean, this guy's picked Joe Flacco. Who else has he picked? He's picked the tall joker from Memphis. What's his name? What is that joker?
Paxton
Lynch. Who else has he picked after? I mean, since then, I don't even like the quarterback he's got there now, Drew Lock from Missouri.
He broke his hand or something.
All of these guys that he's bringing in at quarterback do not play football well, and I think that'll continue with the Broncos. I think they'll try to run the football and play defense and take time off the clock, and he wants to be traded. He doesn't want to play anyway, but I don't see a ton of offense being scored out there in Denver. And let me just say this. I was out in Denver last weekend right before I went to San Francisco, and I was running around out there, and that elevation is no joke. It's serious. So, little adjustment. So for me, if I had something, it would be the under 38.5. But this is a game that I'm not going to bet on.
Yep. I'm kind of in the same vein with you. I'm definitely going to pass this game. Had a big week last week, but who knows if that was fool's gold. If you feel that you leaning wise, if I had to lean one way, I would lean the Broncos to cover at home, just because the Broncos at home have had of covering spreads there. I think they have like a 57%. I'm going to pass this one, Will. I can see this game being like a 15-16 type of crazy game.
Yep.
So we're definitely, me and Will on the same page there. We're going to pass that one. Next game, Willie J. To the Baker Mayfield Lamar Jackson battle. Let's go to Baltimore Ravens, led by Lamar. It's a lot of -7 themes this week. That number. I got a little nugget for you guys at the end of the show. But sits at -7. Baltimore's a favorite at home, and the over 5. Well, I'm just gonna let you know for this one. I really, really want to bet this game, and my gut is telling me to take Cleveland, so I'm leaning Cleveland, but I'm gonna pass on it. I can't get over the fact that Freddie Kitchens ran a draw on 4th and 9, bro. Like, the fact that he did that just lets me know how discombobulated he is as like a head coach and the offensive play caller. Like last year when he got thrown in, he was like, oh, okay, I don't really have nothing to lose. This is like an audition. Pull out all the stops, but he's not being creative enough with the guys that he has around. He reminds me of Steve Sarkisian with the Falcons. That's who Freddie Kitchens reminds me of right now. Where you got this Lamborghini right there in your garage. You got the keys for it, but you do not know how to drive a stick shift. And he don't know how to drive that thing. I mean, it's like he's trying to drive it like it's a freaking, a Prius or something like that. Man, you got a Ferrari, you got a Lambo in there, you got to drive that thing fast. And I think Baker Mayfield has a lot of stuff. I think he has a lot going on in his head, man. I think I don't understand why he can't get right. I just don't get it. So at the end of the day, I think I think they do keep it close though. I think the Browns are a little bit back against the wall mentality, world's against them, but they did that last week against the Rams and they only put up 13 points. So I'm gonna pass on this game, Will, but I'm leaning Cleveland on this one. What type of handicapping action you got for this one, bro?
I like Cleveland +7. As you know, we talked about this when the season started. The main thing I was saying was that I didn't believe in Cleveland Browns because of all that hype they had been getting. Didn't trust Freddie Kitchens with all those personalities in the locker room, blah, blah, blah. We talked about that. And then I actually faded them that first week against the Titans and cashed in on that. And then the market had quickly reset. Yep. The Browns went back to being the Browns. The public was fading them, betting against them. And for me, this is a game where now I'm on I'm on the Cleveland train, and the reason why I say that is 7 points is just way too much. That's disrespectful. Too many guys on that team. Too many dogs on Cleveland, on defense and on offense. OBJ, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb. They got a good offensive line. You got Jarvis Landry. Then when you look at the defense, you got, Christian Kirksey. You got the corners, Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams. You got some players over there. You got Sheldon
Myles
Richardson
Garrett
in the middle. Myles Garrett. How can I leave him off? So they got enough dogs to keep this game close. The Ravens are getting way too much respect. Think about it. They beat the Cardinals. I don't see too much in the Cardinals. And then they also beat the Miami Dolphins. Those are their 2 wins for this game. And then they played against the Chiefs. They played them okay, but you got to think about this. They backdoor covered that game last week. That game was never in question. We knew who was going to win that game with Kansas City.
Backdoor Bill.
I like Baltimore, but this line is way too high for people to be betting the Ravens. So I like this one. I'll take Cleveland +7.
Look, by the time Sunday hits, I may be on it with you, man. I'm trying to see which way I'm gonna lean on it, but which way I actually gonna bet. But I'm leaning with you with Cleveland. So, all right, moving right along, Will. Let's head to H-Town, man. Let's holler at them Texans out there where you at. They will be hosting the Carolina Panthers, the Cam Newton-less Carolina Panthers, and Kyle Allen. Every time I hear that name, I'm thinking of Kyle Allen Fieldhouse, Kansas, or Kyle, whatever that dude's name is, the basketball legend in Kansas. I don't know why I get that. Side note, squirrel. But yeah, the Houston Texans hosting the Carolina Panthers. 2-1 Texans facing the 1-2 Panthers. Currently, this line sits at -4.5 as the Texans are the favorite, and the over/under is 47.5 on this one. For me, Will, this game right here is one of those games where I think they're valuing. I think they're thinking that the public is all on Kyle Allen. So they kind of baiting people with this 4.5, oh man, after what he did last week and how they destroyed the Cardinals, oh yeah, the Panthers will easily cover that. The Texans haven't looked that good. But I'm going to tell you guys this. The Texans at home are just a different team, unless they're playing Jacksonville. Just want to let y'all know that. The only team at home that they struggle with is Jacksonville Jaguars for some random reason. It's like every year, it's like a 1-point game or, last second, overtime. I don't know what it is. But the Texans at home under Bill O'Brien have only lost 4 times, I think, in Houston during his tenure, which is damn good. And one of those times was last year in the playoffs. So they're a very, very good home team. They've gone on long winning streaks with Bill O'Brien. I think Bill O'Brien doesn't get as much credit for the type of play calling that he does. He's a master play caller. I will put him up there with the Sean Paytons of the world, Sean McVays, as far as schemes and coming up with creative plays to get Nuke Hopkins involved, to get Hopkins off, out of the pocket a little bit. where he's rolling out, hitting tight ends, getting guys involved that you wouldn't think. I mean, he got Darren Fells looking like freaking Rob Gronkowski this year. He's up there leading tight ends and touchdowns. He's tied for the lead right now with 3. But I think at the end of the day, it's kind of like the Minshew mania. I think Kyle Allen's getting a little bit too much hype. He faced the Cardinals. We talked about the Cardinals not having Patrick Peterson. Their secondary is just about as bad as the Giants. And I think here the Texans are being very, very undervalued in this one. The Carolina Panthers are being overvalued. I really like the Texans minus 4.5 in this one. I think they actually win this game pretty easily by 7 to 10 points. So give me Deshaun Watson, Nuke Hopkins, and that Texans offense at home to cover pretty easily against Carolina, man. Will, what you got for this game?
For me, I love the under 47 in this game. The last 5 games in Houston have gone under. And that's just something, every time I see the Texans play at home, I don't know if it's because they got a little anxiety or what. I mean, they just want to come out and play well. The defense always plays well, and sometimes, they don't execute on offense the way they need to. So I love the under 47 in this game, but I also love Houston to cover as well. But getting back to, and this kind of goes hand in hand with why I like Houston and the under. Kyle Allen, all of a sudden, he's the next John Elway. I heard a lot of this week, the media talking about how good he can spin the ball, how well he can throw it, and the hype around him is crazy right now. When I see something like that, I like to fade it. The NFL is a contrarian sport. And if you want to be good at it, you want to, try to go against the waves if it makes sense for the most part. Think about this last week. Kyle Allen played up against an Arizona Cardinals football team that right now it's not a good football team. They don't know their head from their ass, and so I can't buy into that stock too much. But this week in Houston, they're playing a much tougher Houston Texans defense who gets pressure on the passer. And that's something that we haven't seen Kyle Allen have to deal with yet. So when you got J.J. Watt, Whitney Merciless, and guys like that putting pressure on him, we're gonna see how he plays in Houston. Now, for the Houston Texans, the reason why I like what you said with them covering, they're just a better football team from top to bottom. They have probably the best or one of the best receiving cores in the league. When you look at Kenny Stills, Nuke Hopkins, Will Fuller, those guys can flat out fly and they catch the football. So I love the receiving core. I like what they're doing with Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson in the running back or in the backfield. And so when you look at Houston, man, they barely beat Jacksonville. They went across the country and beat the Chargers last week. And in week 1, I'm just telling you, man, they should have won that game against the Saints.
Mm-hmm.
If Romeo Crennel wouldn't have called those prevent defense and let the Saints go down the field to win it, then they would be 3-0 right now. But hey, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle too. So they did lose the game, but I love the Houston Texans to win this week, -4 against the Carolina Panthers. So I like both of those, under 47 and -4. Houston Texans.
My dog said my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. Boy, woo, boy, you definitely in mid-season form, man. Oh man, yep, yeah, I definitely love them to cover that, man. I think the Texans do their thing. So, moving right along to the next game, we're gonna go to Patty Mayonnaise, man. We're gonna go to Patrick Mahomes' world. The 3-0 Chiefs will be heading to the 2-0-1 Detroit Lions. Come on, y'all, 2-1. They're not undefeated. Don't give me that. No, they're not undefeated. But they'll be hosting the Chiefs, the all-world Chiefs. Currently, this line is at -7. The Chiefs are the favorite, and the over/under is 55 on this game. Will, do you have any action on this one? I could already tell you right now, I'm leaning the Chiefs, but I kind of want to hear where your head's at on this game, man.
I like the Chiefs in this one. I mean, I respect the Detroit Lions and what they've done this year. Went to Philly last week and got a win. I like the Lions, but this is a different beast they're going against this week. Even without Tyreek Hill right now, think about this, Lockett. In September games, in the last 10 September games played, the Kansas City Chiefs are 10-0 against the spread. We talked
Yep.
about this last
Yeah.
week. Andy Reid in that first quarter of the season, with all the preparation and scheming and new plays that they put in the offseason,
Mm-hmm.
he always jumps out in front. I think the last 4 or 5 years, when you look at Alex Smith and Patty Mahomes at the helm, they've started out 5-0 in
Yeah.
September. That's just or 4-0,
Yeah.
5-0. They always win like their first 4 or 5 games since Andy Reid has been there. So, I love Kansas City in this spot. They're playing indoors on a fast track. You don't really hear people talk about this team is fast on turf, blah blah blah. You don't really hear of that too much anymore. But I think it makes a difference with all that speed they have in Kansas City, and I think they'll cover the minus. What did you
7.
get the line at? I got
You
it
got
at minus
6.5.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's 7 according to my bookie. I would even
Yeah.
take that. I love Kansas City in this spot, so that's another one for me.
Yep.
I love.
I'm on that train as far as that. I think I'm gonna pass this game. It's just weird for me, man. I'm definitely gonna put it in a teaser. I'm definitely probably parlay it, but to take it straight up, it's just weird for me taking it. I don't know why. I know the Chiefs get money and they cover for you all the time. I just don't feel comfortable taking it right now. I'm leaning the Chiefs. Do some more digging and try to figure it out because the Lions are just tricky. I think Matt Patricia is just one of those defensive coordinators where he's like, head coaches, he's hit or miss. He'll come out and look all world where his team is just flying around and being great like the last 2 weeks. And then but then they'll look like the first week of the season against the Cardinals. And they'll look like hot garbage, that second half to tie with the Cardinals. I think Kerryon Johnson is going to be a big factor in this game. The Chiefs are 31st in the NFL in rush efficiency against the rush on defense. So, they struggle with that. So I think Kerryon is going to really try to pound the rock here. Darius Slay is a little bit banged up. So that's what has me leaning the Chiefs. He has a hamstring strain. And, come on now. You got to run with Sammy Watkins and Mecole Hardman and them boys. It's going to be tough. And they're already going to be crisscrossing and going all which way with Andy Reid. So I'm really, really liking that. And a lot of people don't know this. This is the first indoor football game for Patrick Mahomes in his career as a starter.
Wow.
First indoor game,
I
man.
didn't
It's
realize
crazy. Like
that.
when I saw it, I was like, what? Hold on. I went down through the list. I was like, yeah, this is his first indoor game. He's an AFC, so a lot of those teams are outdoor teams. Yeah, so we're going to see what Mahomes can do indoors with the elements just right on the fast track. He has a group of freaking sprinters as wide receivers. So like I said, guys, I'm going to pass on it as of now. I'm definitely going to tease this game. Tease it down 6.5 points. It's actually going to be one of my best teasers, and I'll tell you the other team that I have in the teaser a little bit later on. But passing it, I'm leaning Chiefs, but Mahomes' first indoor game on the fast track, I think it could get a little bit silly for the Chiefs here. It could get a little fun. So I'm definitely going to have a lot of these guys sprinkled in my fantasy lineup too. Ding, ding, ding. A little nugget. Indoors, no weather. Mahomes, y'all better know it. So let's see here, Will. The next matchup I want to jump to, man. Let's come on to my crib. Come on down to the A. We got the Tennessee Titans coming into Atlanta, taking on the Falcons. Currently the spread, both teams 1-2. Spread sits at -4 right now. Falcons as the favorite, and 45.5 is the over-under. For me, Will, I'm tired of betting my Falcons, man. I'm just going to keep this short and sweet. I'm passing on the game. I have to see the Falcons in consistent weeks put together a game for me to jump back on them again. If I had to lean one direction, I would lean Tennessee at the +4. I can see the Falcons winning this by 3, 2, 1, something crazy. I see one of the kickers missing a kick. It's just what Atlanta does, or we'll be up 14 and let them back in the game or something crazy. So I'm going to pass on the game, but I'm leaning the Falcons, man. Will, you got any action on this one?
Absolutely not, man. This is a game where I don't have a ton of thought on it. Can't trust the Falcons. I'm done betting on them until I see some consistency for weeks, not just one game, weeks. So if I had to do anything, to be honest, I could see Tennessee winning the game outright. I could see them covering. I could see the Falcons winning the game. I could see them winning by, double digits. You never know with the Falcons. So for me, if anything, I would take the under in the game because, Tennessee can play defense with the best of them. And who knows, they might get out there and dirty the game up, muddy it up, and the game go under. But I don't have a ton of thought on this one. Now, this is a pass
Gotcha.
for me.
Yep. So we're both passing this one. And one more nugget for you guys. Derrick Henry will have 3 rushing touchdowns this week. I'm building y'all lineup right now. I'm just letting you know I'm building your FanDuel lineup, your DraftKings lineup right now. Derrick Henry will have 3 rushing touchdowns. Okay. On to the next game. New York Giants will sitting at -3 right now. They're the favorite. They'll be hosting the 0-3 Washington Redskins, who just got demolished on Monday night. This one's pretty short and sweet for me. I'll be honest with you. I thought about taking the Skins, and I'm leaning the Redskins. But I'm going to pass the game just because I don't trust Case Keenum, and I don't trust Jay Gruden. The fact that he had Chris Thompson in on the goal line for 3 straight rushes and he didn't put Adrian Peterson in the game just lets me know that there's something going on in-house, that team just doesn't, mess with the coach at all. And but Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver from Ohio State, is the one bright spot, man. One of the few, the first rookie ever, I guess, to have 3 touchdowns or a touchdown catch in his first 3 games as a rookie. So that's pretty good feat there. But I'm gonna pass the game. Will I'm leaning the Redskins just because I think all the Daniel Jones hype is a little bit too much, and we got to remember the Giants were down almost 21 points before this comeback came. They came back on Tampa. So, but I'm gonna pass on the game. It's a pass for me. Will, you got any action on this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna bet the Redskins plus
okay.
3. I like the Redskins plus 3. Looking at them last week. Yeah, Case Keenum turned the ball over 5 times last week, and they only lost 31-16. Partly because of who was on the other side playing quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky. They only lost by 15 points on 5 turnovers. And this is pro football. Case Keenum, up until that point, had played pretty good football. I think he'll clean that up this week, and he'll go back out there and play like a pro and bounce back from a bad week. Look at the first 2 games. They were up on Philly. They covered against Philly. I can't remember who they played the week after that, but I like Washington in this spot. Think about this as well. This country is driven off of New York media, LA media, Chicago media, for the Midwest, right? So Daniel Jones, I've seen the odds go so down right now on the Giants on them actually winning the NFC East, which is ridiculous. Saquon Barkley's not playing. The Redskins were supposed to have a good defense this year. They didn't look great last week against the Bears, but they know the Giants. And I think Daniel Jones, even though he played well, he will regress to the mean just a little bit this week, and the hype train will come to a halt. I think Washington will win this game outright. So I'm definitely betting the Redskins plus 3. And the tease, definitely teasing.
Yeah, you can get some real good points on that teaser there. So
it's not a best bet for me, but I do like the Redskins to cover.
Yep, I'm passing that one, but Will likes the Redskins to cover that. You guys may want to throw that in the teaser too. So, next game on the slate, Will, the Tampa Bay Bucks, who lost to the Giants last week, 1-2 are heading out to the 3-0 Los Angeles Rams. Currently, the Rams are favored at -9, and the over/under is 49.5. I'm gonna make this real short and sweet for me, Will. I love the Rams -9. I actually think this game should be more in the 11 to 13 range when it comes to the matchup. I know everybody's going to say, oh, man, Mike Evans and Winston, how good they looked last week. Everybody, the Giants have the worst pass defense in the NFL. They have 2 of the worst corners currently right now in Janoris Jenkins and DeAndre Baker. As far as passes thrown at them, they're giving up 98% catches. 98%. And that was against the Giants. The Rams are a whole different animal. The Tampa Bay Bucks still have problems with their offensive line. Aaron Donald, makes it pretty easy, straightforward here. Tampa Bay's traveling across country. I think Tampa Bay comes to this game and just lays an egg. I think they're going to have a hangover from losing that Giants game. Give me the Rams -9. And also, guys, this is a part of my teaser of the week. Tease the Rams and the Chiefs in a 2-team teaser, 10 units on that. Go heavy on that one. I think that covers pretty easily. So those are 2 of my best bets, and that's my best teaser of the week, Will. What type of action you got on this one, if any?
Man, this is like Boys in the Hood, and I'm looking at everybody's haircut. This is a straight fade on your ass. I am fading the Rams this week, man. This is one of my best bets. I caught the Buccaneers at +10. I love the Buccaneers +10 in this spot. And the reason why I love it, the Rams have just not, this is a different type of animal. You said that, but this was a different type of animal last year. I haven't seen it this year from Todd Gurley. They're running a more of a by committee approach, and to me, man, I love the Rams. I love their personnel. They play much better at home than they do on the road, but we all know it's not really a home field advantage out there in the LA Coliseum. And I'm just looking at the games that they won this year. They beat the Carolina Panthers 30-27, who Tampa beat. They beat the New Orleans Saints, who are without Teddy Bridgewater or without Drew Brees. Okay, you should win that game. And for most of that game, that was a struggle. They got some garbage touchdowns at the end and made it look worse than what it is. And then in Cleveland, that game came down to the last possession. I know it's the NFL. Everybody plays everybody tough. But for me, I just hadn't seen it yet from the Rams. Love the Rams, but I think this is too many points. Tampa Bay, I think they've got enough maturity in that locker room with the defensive coordinator and the head coach to get those guys ready to play this week, because they should have won that game. The way they lost was ridiculous, and so I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm actually not rolling the dice. This is the best bet for me. I don't trust the Rams right now. I hadn't seen it from them on offense, so give me the Buccaneers +9 or 10, whatever you get it at. I'm on that. Give me the Buccaneers.
Hey, well, I'm here to tell you, Will. I'm just gonna tell you, you sound a little crazy this week, man. Because I know I learned one thing last week. I'm not putting another damn dollar on them Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jameis Winston, what'd you say last week? You're not trusting the man that steal them crab legs.
I'm not touching. Absolutely, but when you're gonna give me 10 points against a joker who got a degenerated knee and a guy at quarterback for the Rams who I'm not sold on. They paid him a year too early. I'm just not sold on him. So you're gonna give me 10 points? I got to take that. I'm sorry. What's the saying? Everybody got a price. Everybody can be bought. Yeah. Well, baby, you bought me this week. I feel
you on that one, man. I'm on the other spectrum. So if you're riding with Willie J, then you're riding with the Bucks. If you're riding with two T's, then you're riding with the Rams. So we're definitely split on that one, and it looks like the country is actually split on that one too. It's like a 50-49. Picking Tampa and the Rams on that spread, and actually more money's actually came in on the Buccaneers too. So they're with Willie J on that one. If you're asking the public. So next matchup here, man, we're good. The classic NFC West battle. Seattle Seahawks 2-1 heading to Arizona 0-2-1. Arizona just looks like a team that, I mean, they look like a college team. Their offense is so fast. They're wearing out the defense. Defense has no juice in the second half. I'm passing the game. If I had to lean one way, I would lean the over in this game. One of the things that I told myself I would do this whole year is bet the over on all Cardinals games, just when I saw how bad their defense was going to be and how teams are going to attack them through the air, big plays with their cornerbacks being out. And especially these first 4 weeks, I definitely was going to attack the over without Patrick Peterson. So I'm passing on this game, Will. Arizona is a 5-point underdog, and Seattle is the favorite at -5. Over-under is 48. Sorry I didn't tell you guys that in the beginning. But I'm leaning the over 48, but I'm passing on the game. Will, you got any action on this one?
Nah, no action. This is a pass for me, but I got two bets for all our listeners out there in Washington or the state of Arizona, or people that are just Seahawks or Arizona Cardinal fans. I do have two bets that you can pay attention to, one for each side. First of all, this, like I said, this is a pass for me. Second of all, for the first half, I would take the Seattle Seahawks to cover. The line is at 5, so if I'm doing basic math, it's probably, I haven't looked at it yet, but it'll probably be around 3 points for Seattle for the first half. I would take that. Lockett, you made a good point earlier when you were doing your handicap on this game. Arizona likes to go fast the whole game and wear defenses down. Usually you see the defenses wear down in the second half of the game. So I don't think the NFL betting allows you to bet for a second half winner, but they'll let you bet for the third and the fourth
Mm-hmm.
quarter. So look, if you could bet the second half, I would
Yeah.
bet that. But what you can do is bet the Seahawks to -3 in the first half, and then bet the Cardinals to win the second half. But I think at the end of the day, the Cardinals can end up covering the -5 as well. Main reason why I say that, I think this Seattle team is completely overrated. I swung and missed the ball on this one. At the beginning of the year, I said that the Seahawks would win that division, but after watching them play these first few weeks, I just don't see it. They look like an overrated team. They don't have much on defense. That was a shame that they gave up that touchdown on special teams and on offense to the Saints last week, and they ended up losing that game. Not sold on the Seahawks, so this is a pass for me, but I love the Seahawks to cover the first half. Love the Cardinals to cover for the game and or the second half.
I'm with you on that one. I like the way you're leaning there. But we both passing the game. Next matchup here. This is one of the another one of the lowest totals of the week. NFC North matchup. Vikings Bears. Both teams 2-1. This line is at -2. Chicago's the favorite at home. Will, for me in this game, I think I'm gonna pass it just because the unknowns here. This is gonna be, to me, a defensive battle. And in the past, the Bears have just dominated the Vikings up front. And since Kirk Cousins has been the quarterback for the Vikings in the past 2 years, they've gotten 12 sacks on Kirk Cousins over their matchups. So that front seven of the Bears has been attacking that O-line of the Vikings. And I just don't know, man. I just don't know who's going to show up. I don't know which Mr. Trubisky is going to show up for the Bears. Is it going to be the Monday night first half Mitchell Trubisky or the Monday night second half Mitchell Trubisky, the guy who pretty much stunk it up the whole year? And Kirk Cousins, we all know, Willie J will tell you, I'll tell you, don't nobody trust Kirk Cousins. I don't even think Kirk Cousins trusts Kirk Cousins. So we're going to, for me, I got to pass on the game. If I had to lean one way, though, I would lean the Vikings as a 2-point dog on the road. They're just a better football team to me overall. Because I think Cousins is a little bit better than Trubisky, but it's a pass for me, Will. But I'm leaning the Minnesota Vikings +2 on here. You got any action for this one?
This is a pass for me. You stated it well. I can't trust Kirk Cousins or Mitchell Trubisky. I can't trust either one of those guys. If this game is being played in Minnesota, I would bet the Vikings is being played in Chicago. I think that home field advantage is too much for Kirk Cousins. They're playing outside. And I think the offense for the Vikings is predicated upon the run now. Now that Dalvin Cook is healthy, they want to run the football with him, and Chicago is one of the best teams in the league against the run. So I think they'll be able to stop the run. I think they're going to get pressure on Kirk Cousins, and he is the worst quarterback you could trust when he gets pressure on him. He makes horrible decisions with the football. So you put a gun to my head, not even 9mm. You got to put a machine gun to my head to make me bet on this game. And if that's the case, I would take the Bears just because of where the game is being played at. But this is ultimately a pass for me.
Gotcha. So we're both passing this one. Will's leaning the Bears. I'm leaning the Vikings. So that can kind of let you guys know how even this game is. Sunday night football. Our last two coming up here. We got Sunday night, Monday night. Sunday night, the Cowboys 3-0 are traveling to New Orleans. They're taking on the Saints. Drew Brees, the Saints. First time Saints at home without Drew Brees. I think that crowd's going to be into the game. I think it'll be live, Will. But I'm not getting fooled by all of that. I think the Saints win in Seattle was fool's gold. Everybody has to remember they had a punt return for touchdown, then they had a defensive touchdown, and they still only beat the Seahawks by 4 points. If you take away those two plays, the Seahawks, they outgained the Saints again, just like every team that has, that they played this year has outgained them. The Saints are still giving up almost 500 yards a game. Their defense isn't what they used to be, the past 2 years. They've been struggling. One of my best bets of the week, this is the Cowboys -3. I think the Cowboys are for real. Their O-line is healthy. Zeke is healthy. And to me, Dak Prescott is playing with the level of confidence that I haven't seen out of him since he's been in the NFL. He's third right now in the NFL in passer rating. He's third in touchdowns he's thrown so far. And Dak just looks very comfortable right now. I think Dallas goes into New Orleans and wins this game actually pretty easily. Like, I really see this game not being an entertaining game at all. First quarter, though, give you guys a little nugget. Here's something for you. I do think the Saints come out first quarter and cover the first quarter, because I think the first quarter play is going to be maybe a 0.5 or maybe 1.5, somewhere in that range, just for covering the first quarter for the Cowboys. I would take the Saints on that. I could see it being 3-0 Saints or something like that, just because of the home crowd. But Will, give me the Cowboys -3. I think this is my best bet of the whole entire week. I think they cover this so easy, and they take out the Saints and they win that game. So what you like for this game?
This is another great one. I like the Cowboys -3, 2.5. I've seen it 2.5 at some places. It's 3 what we use right now. I like it. I was in New Orleans earlier this week, and that crowd, that city, they're ready for the Cowboys to come down there. So I think early on, the Cowboys just need to focus on withstanding the onslaught. The crowd is going to be fully into that game. That's a night game in New Orleans, so they're going to be drinking all day and ready to go. But I think the Cowboys they got too much for the Saints. I'm a little bothered by Michael Gallup being out, because he's actually been a nice number 2 for the Cowboys. I think Amari Cooper had an MRI on his ankle today. So that's something to look at. But I think that the Cowboys will still be able to run the football, throw the ball, downfield in the intermediate game as well. And like you said, Dak looks very comfortable. We talked about this last week. I'm not sold on Teddy Bridgewater yet. And what happens? These guys go out there and get a special teams kick or punt return for a touchdown, and then they get a defensive touchdown. Your odds are like 95% to win the game when you get both of those in one game. So they were able to win out there in Seattle last week, and Seattle, like I said, they're overrated as well. But I love the Cowboys this week, so if I had to come up with a bonus best bet, it would be the Cowboys as well. -3, because I already got my 3 for the week. But I love the Cowboys -2.5, 3 this week. I think they'll be able to handle business.
Yep. So we both on the same train there. We got 2 best bets there on the Cowboys -3. Will, last game of the week. This is the Ofer Monday Night Bowl. The 0-3 Cincinnati Bengals headed out to Pittsburgh, taking on the 0-3 Steelers. Man, that just sounds weird. First time in the Tomlin era, they're 0-3. -3.5. Pittsburgh's the favorite at home, Will, and the over/under is 44. You got any action on this game? And if so, what you got?
This is a pass for me, but if I had to bet on it, I would take Cincinnati +4. I like the experience at quarterback for Cincinnati. You got Andy Dalton. I don't like that redheaded stepchild, but I like him a lot more than Mason Rudolph. Last week, if it didn't take Juju Smith-Schuster having a 75-yard reception, this joker might have gone under 100 yards passing for the game. So that was an underwhelming performance. He was playing against a very good defense in San Francisco, but not sold yet on Mason Rudolph. I like Joe Mixon. He's starting to come out of that injury. He injured his ankle in week 1. I like Tyler Boyd. I like John Ross. And I just like Andy Dalton. Not particularly in primetime games, but I just think at this point where both franchises are, Zach Taylor is doing some great things calling the offensive scheme for the Bengals, where Pittsburgh, Dick LeBeau is gone. I'm not really sure what they're doing on defense yet. Not sold on them from a defensive standpoint. And we talked about it last week. Mike Tomlin's message might be getting a little stale for these guys. And so with them knowing they don't really have anything at quarterback at this point until he plays better, I think the defensive confidence can start to go down a little bit in Pittsburgh. So if I had to bet on it, I would take the Bengals +4.
Okay. This is a pass for me as well. I think the funny thing is I think it's a pass for the ESPN network too. I'm just thinking about this before the season started. Like, who would have thought both these teams would have been 0-3 on Monday night? They were probably excited to have this Bengals Steelers, matchup. Big Ben, Andy Dalton. Now you got Andy Dalton, Rudolph, no AB. You got a lot of things that used to be a part of this rivalry is gone. I mean, Burfict and those guys that used to make it fun with the Bengals, they're gone. Marvin Lewis is gone. But I think the good news is the fact that they're going to get 2 desperate teams in this situation. And for me, I never bet on desperate teams. That's just not how I roll. teams that have their back against the wall are going to do off the wall stuff. I think you're going to see a lot of trick plays as our our coaches called it that. I can't even say that. My mama might get mad. But that trick stuff, they'll be running. And I think at the end of the day, man, I think it comes down to the home team, the home factor. So if I had to lean one way, for me, I would lean the Steelers. I could see a 23-16 type of game that the Steelers win. But I'm going to pass this game, but I'm leaning the Steelers on this one, -4 for that. And I'm really going to try to stay away from it, Will. So, yeah, man, that pretty much wraps up the whole NFL slate. Guys, we'll try to have these picks up for you, some of our best bets. We'll probably get those up right before the slate starts. If you guys really want some of our all of our more in-depth premium picks, make sure you guys follow us. You can follow Will at Group 13 Sports, and you can follow me at Lockett 2Ts, or you can follow the show at That's a Bet Podcast, and that's on Instagram and Twitter. If you guys want some more in-depth picks and some of our props and some of the stuff that's really truly our super sharp plays. We can't give you guys everything, but we can give you guys most of what we like and what we have. So, Will, man, hold up, Will, you hear that, man?
I sure do.
Look, when you hear the music, man, you already know what time it is, Will. So, hey, go and take us home, man.
Shout out to all our listeners and subscribers, man. Hope y'all get some good bets this week. And remember, if you see a bet, make a bet.
That's a bet. Hey, it's from 2Ts. That's Willie J, man. We'll see you guys next week on That's a Bet Podcast. We'll see y'all. Peace.